Hi everybody and welcome. This video is about positive partnership according to Kabbalah. Yeah, it's a little old school with all of these signs, but I made them on every topic to help me a little bit remember, and I thought it's going to be fun to have something circulating in the background a little bit. So basically, I'm not religious, but I am very much into Kabbalah and Judaism. I believe there are many secrets there that can help us in all areas of our life. And one of the most important things in Judaism is the male and female completion, the male and female relationship. We believe that from there, everything happens. And when you find the right partner for you, you drive forward. It's the Merkaba, it's the life force, it's the combination that brings light into the world. So the topics I'm going to cover in this video are the soul, the fact that you and your partner are the same soul, male and female, and how that works. Adam and Eve and the fact that they did a mistake, and we always as humans are trying to correct that mistake and what it means to have a tikkun. God and the Holy Spirit, the model of God and the Holy Spirit that represents male and female in a relationship and how important it is to unite. The work that needs to be done inside of the partnership, and it's a never-ending work and we should not take it easily. The joining of Keter and Malchut. This is a concept from the Tree of Life in Kabbalah. Keter is the highest sphere and Malchut is the lowest one, and the connection between them, connection between polarities, is the purpose of creation. Death and NDE, near-death experiences, and how people come out of that being together, and the quote from Genesis about it is not good for a man to be by himself or to be alone. And last is the concept of Moses and Pharaoh. Moses, the one that brings the light and freedom, and Pharaoh is the one that turns other people into slaves. So I hope you like it. This is pretty radical. It's talking about like very intense romantic relationships. It's very traditional. It's male female, and I hope you enjoy it and it gives you inspiration for your relationship. So let's start. All right, starting with the concept of the same soul. Your tikkun is a phrase that is in Hebrew, and it means correction. It means that you reincarnated here in a body, in a stage that offers you an opportunity to do a correction. Something about your behavior needs to be corrected. So this school of life is here for you to correct something in your soul that you can't correct it in the heavens. Because when you're without a body, it's more difficult to develop in the spiritual realms. So you're here with a specific mission that is coded in yourself. And part of your tikkun, part of your correction, part of everyone's correction, and one of the most important ones, is to learn how to be partnered with the opposite sex, is to learn how to activate that part of you, that completion of male-female, and to have a peaceful marriage that will drive both of you forward, and how to help another person progress, and eventually it makes you progress too. So this is the idea of the tikkun. Usually people have like 2 or 3 major things that they have to correct in their behavior, and for every person it's very, very different. But until you do that, until you correct that part of you, you will continue to reincarnate and reincarnate and reincarnate until you get it, until you get the lesson. The other thing about the soul and partnership is that there are cycles of reincarnation. I studied past life regression, and when I studied it, I was taught that you can reincarnate as male, female, and you can be, let's say, married to your parents at one life, to your mother or father, or married to your brother or whatever. According to Kabbalah, that's not true. You are always reincarnating with your romantic partner, because your romantic partner is part of your soul. It's the other half of your soul. It's the completion of your soul. So in the Bible, they always say like that Adam and Eve reincarnate as different figures. So David and Bathsheba are actually Adam and Eve, and a lot of rabbis talk about it and remind us that we find each other again, and we again learn another part of our lesson, another part that we develop together, but it's eternal. This completion is eternal, and you're never like, it's like you're never sick of yourself. I mean, you have no choice, right? Because you have your soul that's always with you. So the same with your partner, he or she is always with you, and the more you work on that unity throughout your life, the better, because without that you can be almost like a half a person. So in Kabbalah, Judaism, they believe that until a man or a woman gets married, and it's not enough to be boyfriend and girlfriend, until you get married, you only have a person, and once you enter marriage, you're complete. And then, of course, the work needs to be done. There's also the idea of the same coat. There's a story about a rabbi that came back from synagogue and took off his coat and gave it to his wife, and his wife went to the market and she was wearing the same coat. So that's actually a story in what we call Chazal, and it has a secret in it. So the coat doesn't really mean a physical coat. It means the external wrap, that when you or your partner goes out in the street, you're wearing the same energy. You're so united, you're so one, you're in the same mind, that it's just the difference of male and female, but you're like surrounded by the same energy. There's another story about praying together, another story about a rabbi and his wife. There was a really well-known rabbi, and there was a drought, and people came to him and asked him to pray for rain, and he said, okay, no problem, I need my wife. So him and his wife went outside and prayed for the rain. They held hands, they prayed for the rain, and suddenly clouds started to form above and behind the woman and started raining. And the students came and told the rabbi, how come your wife attracted the rain so quickly? What about you? And he said, that is because all the things that I do for charity, I give the money for the poor needs to go and get the material and come back and cook the food. My wife, when she gives to charity, she already cooks for them and she prepares the meal ready to eat. So that's why her wishes are granted sooner. But this story comes not only with the idea of how to get your wishes granted earlier, it shows about the power of praying together as a couple, the power of the woman completing the man and the man completing a woman, and when both of them send their prayer to the sky, it may be granted much more. And it is well known in all traditions that praying together is much more powerful than praying alone. Adam and Eve. First of all, I love the story of Adam and Eve. I think there's a lot of secrets still coded there. But the mistake that Adam and Eve did was not only because they ate from the tree or they talked to the snake. The mistake was when God asked Adam, why did you eat the apple, or why did you eat the fruit? He said, it is not me, it is the woman you gave me. And in that moment, he betrayed her. So when you betray something, that betrayal is the worst sin, because he automatically said that she is not part of him. And that is the separation. So we believe that a lot of the work in partnership is to unite and see your partner as part of you and take responsibility for their actions as if they were your own, and not to say, it's him, it's not me. The betrayal first happens in thought. When you're in the same mind, that is the most important thing. When you have this telepathical connection and that constant love that flows between you, that is unity in thought. And when you see people betray other people or cheat on other people, the cheating first happens in thought. The cheating first happens in, oh, I think I can do better, or attraction to some other thing that you think can fulfill you more, instead of going back to that spiritual home and uniting once again and revealing more of who you are and more. You can talk with your partner about everything. It's an intimacy that's never ending, because your partner is always there for you. You're living together. You can talk about anything, and that's the idea of the geniusness of this system, as always developing together. A person is not like a laptop or a bag or whatever. The value of a person that I wrote here, the value of a person is almost unmeasurable. A person is a whole universe. When you have the chance to step into a partnership with someone, the value that that person can give to your life and that you can give to him is unmeasurable, because he or she is holding the power of God. And when you see him or her, you see him as great manifestors that have the ability to manifest things in the world by their speech, by their actions. It's almost like you don't know where this person can reach, and you don't know where you can reach in partnership with that person. So a person is really valuable, and you should enter your marriage in such awe and admiration to that gift that God has given you, to be able to be in a system of developing together in a partnership. Okay, a lot of people in Judaism talk about the idea of God and the Holy Spirit. It's God and the Shekhinah. So they say that all of our action in the world, and not only partnerships, are supposed to unite God and the Holy Spirit. So God and the Holy Spirit can also represent male and female in the relationship, but in Judaism, God and the Holy Spirit represents God, the creator, and the people of Israel, which are the Holy Spirit. And that God always gives and always gives and always wants to elevate and correct and give compliments and do whatever it takes in order for the Holy Spirit to rise up and to manifest to its best ability. I wrote here, we have no right to criticize our partner. And we really don't. People don't like to be criticized, and who are we to put somebody else down? When people are criticized, they want to run away from that. So that is never a good idea, and that is not how God and the Holy Spirit operate together. In the 10 Commandments, one of the most important commandment is love your neighbor as if it was yourself. And some say that love your neighbor starts with your wife, because in that partnership, that's the closest you can get to unconditional love. You can love other people. You can love your father, you can love your sister, you can love your mother, you can love your brother, your colleagues, your children. But the level of intimacy and familiarity that you get with your husband and wife is much deeper, and you will always stay with him or her. Other figures will leave according to the situation you have in life. But the idea is, after marriage, you're not leaving your partner. The Song of Songs was written by Solomon, King Solomon, which was considered to be the wisest person that has ever lived and will ever live. And it is like a love story or love poetry between God and the Holy Spirit. The reason that it's so important is that it only talks about compliments. It's a whole verses after verses of compliments. And the only time that somebody says something negative is when somebody says it on himself, and it's like really hinted and not a very big part of the Song of Songs. So we can take from that a person grows from compliments, and that is what we were made to do. We were made to lift our partner up, to elevate them, to nourish them, to nurture them, to grow with them, to help them grow. Our nature is like God's nature, to give, whether it's a woman or a man, to live for someone else. And that is what Kabbalah says, that your purpose is to live for someone else. The idea of love your neighbors and manners before Bible is about the fact that some people think, oh, when I reach heaven, then I will unite with God, and everything is going to be okay, and I just need to work on my connection with God. But the Torah says, and the Kabbalah says, that the most important places to work on are in your relationships. And manners before Bible means it's more important to treat other people well and then study Bible, because in the way you treat other people, there lies all the secrets about spirituality and the Bible. And that is why that's supposed to be the most important thing, because it doesn't matter if you intellectually understand something, understand some wisdom, spirituality. It matters if you can apply it to the relationship. The work. I love this section. I feel this is very relevant to our time. The reason that we have a lot of divorces, a lot of problems in relationship, fights, people finding it hard to find a partner because we're seeking for the perfect person, is because there is a slight distorted idea that a partnership should be like it is in movies. So we have to enter a partnership, a marriage, in such awe, and also with the idea that this is gonna be work. Like you have a baby and you know that this baby needs a lot of attention and I need to grow this baby up. Not that I'm saying that your partner is a baby, but the idea that it's constant work on yourself, constant work to be more compassionate, more loving, more giving. And one of the reasons that we have such a distorted way of viewing partnership is because of Hollywood and the movies that we watch. Some of those movies portray a charming man and a beautiful woman falling in love and then riding to the sunset. But what happens when things are not as easy? And sometimes we need a set of rules to live by. So Hollywood and all the beautiful people there and how we should look and should behave, they actually plant wrong images in our mind. And they say that each person has their zivug. Zivug means your divine counterpart that is supposed to be yours. And because of all the media we watch, many men think that, oh, I'm gonna get this hot girl and this is what my divine partner will look like. And when he finds her and when he feels the connection and he sees she's not looking like I thought, then that causes a stage of uncertainty and a lot of questions asked. So a lot of religious people in Judaism stay away from the media and stay away from commercials or whatever people do to sell beauty and to sell products through beauty, because it distorts the mind. And sometimes the ideas of a relationship that are planted in us through the movies and through the media are actually really wrong and leave us with no tools of how to deal with the real life. Women sometimes would say, oh, I want him to buy me things, I want him to pamper me, and the man is in demand. I want her to make me king, I want her to respect me. And these are all demands from the other person. And I think that in a relationship, the best way to come is what I can give. See that your role is only to give. And once you shift into giving, it does something to the energy. And instead of wanting to get, it's like looking at what I can give. And when you can see what you can give, even if it's just your love and attention, which is absolutely valuable, you already feel more abundant, you feel more rich. The mistake basically is the princess mistake, and that means that people in their imagination want to be the prince or princess, to be served on, to have massages all day. And I think that when you are in that state of constantly receiving, there is no challenge, there is no purpose to life, there is no friction, there is no growth. And a person that lives like that, like a prince or princess, would probably die pretty quickly because he has nothing to live for. There is no purpose for his existence. So I think to understand that the friction or the constant learning and developing is something that is actually really, really healthy. And we don't want to be in a place that we want to be served. Kabbalah puts a lot of importance in maintaining peace inside of a relationship and knowing where you're going, like having the same goal. For example, when a couple gets money, let's say a man says, oh, I know what I want to do with this money. I want to get a new sports car, I want to get a new watch, I want to get new sneakers. And the woman is like, I don't want that at all. I want to go to Greece. I want to go here. I want to go there. So they don't have the same mindset of what to do with the money. And oftentimes, because they're thinking in a very egoistical way, the money doesn't flow to them. So that's another thing about money and the relationship. You know, we all understand right now that money comes to us from God. People can open the same shop at the same street selling similar products, and one person gets a ton of clients and his shop is very successful, and the other person isn't. Why is that? Why does that happen? There are some things that are divine, that they are divinely orchestrated, and there are some keys and codes to unbreak that. And one of them is having peace in the home. So when you have peace, then that is a vessel for holding abundance. And there's a story of the two-headed boy story, which is also part of King Solomon's story, which I already said was the wisest person to ever lived. He tells a story of a young boy that has two heads. This young boy was an orphan, and his parents died when he was young, and when they died, they left him a trustee that was in charge of his money. And when he was supposed to be 18, he would get the money. So anyways, the boy grew up, and when he was 18, the trustee came to him and said, you know, boy, your parents left you a lot of money. I held it for you, and now it's time to give it to you. What will you do with the money? And one head of the boy said, I'm going to buy ships, and I'm going to buy farms, and I'm going to buy horses. And he had a whole plan. And the other head said, oh, I don't want to do that at all. That's not my plan at all. So the trustee said, okay, I don't know which head to give the money to. And until you figure out your plan, until you figure out what both of you want, the money will stay with me. And I feel personally that's like a really interesting concept also inside of ourselves. I feel that some of us are pulled into many directions, and until there is this clear understanding of where we want to go and uniting all these parts of us in one direction, only when we have a clear mission that is with accordance to God, then the money comes. The last point that I want to point out in the work that needs to be done is about the home as a temple. So you can hear this from a lot of rabbis saying that a home is like a temple, like that the courtyard is like the living room when you pray, the bathroom is like the mikveh. I don't know if you know this a word. Mikveh is like the place where you bathe yourself and purify yourself. Woman goes there once a month. And the bathroom is the place you purify yourself. The kitchen is like the altar, and the bedroom is the holy of holiness, where the closet of the holy Torah is. And the idea is that if the bedroom is such a holy place, there should never be arguments in the bedroom, and the sleep should be as peaceful as possible, because God is whispering through the angels that are sitting above the closet that holds the Torah. The house should always be clean, smell good, and be treated as a holy temple that holds the energy of the couple, and for the couple to elevate there as much as possible and grow with each other and study with each other and study Bible with each other and complete each other and help each other. And that is what the home should be. Joining Keter and Malchut, probably some of you that are watching me are already familiar with the Tree of Life, and I'm actually not at my regular house. I am moving, so this is kind of a temporary place, and I don't have my Tree of Life, but I'll put it on the screen. And as you know, and if it's new to you, there are 10 spheres, which are 10 levels of awareness, 10 different codes that can be activated and approached if we know how to unlock them. These are mystical powers that lay inside of us. And the Keter is supposed to be the most spiritual, the highest and closest to God, but it still has a power of manifestation in our world. And Malchut is the lowest one. It's the most earthly one. And when we unite both, that's where the power is. That is the purpose of creation, to unite polarities. And a man and a woman are considered to be the most polarized beings in creation. When a man and a woman marries, it's considered to be the happiest day and moment of their life. And there is a story of a great scholar who studied the Zohar. The Zohar is also a book of secrets in Judaism. And when he ended, he wanted to do a feast because it's considered to be a big deal to complete these kind of books and to invite people to the feast. And he wanted to say a prayer which is called the Simcha B'Me'ono. The literal meaning means the happiness in the house. And you're supposed to say this prayer only on the marriage day. But he said, you know what, I'll say it, I'm very happy today. So he said it. And then at night, his father, who passed away, came to him in his dream and said, you know, you shouldn't have said that, and I want to show you why. And then in the dream, he took him to see a marriage and to see how much light under the chuppah, how much light comes from this unity between man and wife. It's enormous. And then he compared it to the light that came out of him when he completed his reading. And he said, that prayer is only for the day of marriage. A marriage is a social structure that is different than work, than military, than friendship, because the level of intimacy you can reach with your partner is much deeper than with anyone else, because that person can touch parts of your life that nobody else can, and in that way it should be utilized to the highest good of both parties. Death. A lot of people that experience near-death experiences have a similar description of what they've gone through. And they say that when they approached heaven, they were accepted in such loving arms, and so much love was poured to them, and they really saw the light, and they kind of felt how God really sees them as unique, as beautiful, as powerful as His creation. And in that same way, that is how we should see our partner, as God's creation and as unique. And we should see our partner the way God sees him or her. And it's a whole system of very specific qualities and a specific mission, and we should acknowledge that and see the light in that person. I want to quote now a doctor that's called Kenneth Ring. He's a specialist in NDE, and he tells a story about a man that he was a sort of bully, and he got into a minor car accident where somebody entered his lane. So he stopped the car. He was really mad. He got out of the car. He took the person out of his car too. He started beating him in his teeth, starting to kick him, and left him bleeding there on the street, and just drove away. After like 15 years, this man had a near-death experience where he saw himself beating a person really bad, the same experience he was shown. But right now he saw that that other person that he beat was actually himself. So our partner, and if we beat them or the way we treat them, is actually ourselves. And that is the lesson of this story. All of everything around us is part of us. This unity, and one of the most powerful concepts of the Bible and in general is to unite. And only when the Israelites united, then they got the Torah, then they got the 10 Commandments. So the importance of unity and seeing others as they were yourself is the highest of all. The idea of giving and completing is also very interesting. It's about seeing your partner and his disadvantages or weak spots as places that you can enter in and actually complete those places and help him or her develop in those places. So not to say, oh, let's say he snores, or he doesn't know how to do this, or he doesn't know how to put a diaper on a baby or whatever. These are places that you need to teach and you need to accept. And it's like you need to accept a person, what he can do or can't do. For example, when we take care of a baby, when we wash him, when we clothe him, we're not mad at him because he or she can't do that. We just see how we can help that being, how we can complete the things that they can't complete. And we do it naturally. I mean, the mother is not looking for a prize or for compliments for what she does. She just does it naturally because she wants to help her baby grow. Genesis 2:18, being together. I want to start with quoting it. It says, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him." The secret in this verse is that it says it is not good that a man should be alone. It doesn't say it is not good that a man should build a house alone or work alone. It be alone. So the secret here of partnership is doing things together. You go grocery shopping together, you clean the house together. Everything you do, you should do it together, because this helps you unite more. And the more actions you do together, the more intimate you become with each other. Sometimes there is the idea of each person has their role. Let's say you have small kids and the baby's crying at night. It's not that one is waking up for the baby. Two should wake up to the baby, and maybe one does not know exactly what to do. So hold a diaper, be there, be that space for that other person to go through what he or she is going through. And that is being awake while the other person is having an episode. Sometimes just being there. It's such a comfort. The only thing that you should want from your partner is him or her being willing to develop. That's the only thing. Development is the key. Progress and development. Think of yourself, of the level of you being willing to change and adapt. That's actually attracting your partner to you, and together the sky is the limit. Okay, the last concept that I want to present to you is the concept of Pharaoh and Moses. First of all, I want to say that Moses is my favorite character in the Bible. I think he was an amazing leader, and I just love the story. But let's put that aside. I want to say that Moses is representing the light. So when we're born into this world, we're born into darkness. We kind of forget the light. We forget our previous incarnation, and we are born, and then we are attracted, and we're longing to light, to wisdom, to pleasure, but it's more spiritual pleasure. We're attracted to that spiritual heightened place, and that is what Moses is. Moses took the people from slavery to freedom. He showed them the way. He saw the potential in them, and that is what the Holy Spirit and God is. So the Holy Spirit, or the Shekhinah, is actually the Israelites. And when Moses was like, okay, how will we take the Shekhinah, how will we take the Holy Spirit out of slavery? God said, whatever needs to be will be, and I can see the potential. I see the future image of these people. I see where they can go. I don't see them as slaves. The same goes with your partner. You see the potential of where he or she can grow, and it doesn't matter if they were in alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. They can be the light. Some say that in partnership, if a man does all his development, he can be the Messiah. So the potential is unbound. People will always be attracted to the ones that give them compliments, to the ones that respect them, the one that shows them light and hope, and will always stay away from people who treat them like slaves, like Pharaoh did. So always remember that you're supposed to be the Moses to your partner. The last concept that I want to put out there, and with that to close the lesson, is about manna. Probably you heard about the fact that when the Israelites left Egypt and before they entered Israel, they walked 40 years in the desert. Now, people say, like, why 40 years, right? Because if you were ever in Egypt or Israel, you could say somebody can come from here to there in like 4 days or a week or 2 weeks. Why 40 years? One of the reasons is to unite the people, to have them in a different mindset. And the other one is for the older generation to pass away, the slave generation mentality, and for the new generation to come. But we don't sometimes miss the fact that what happened with the Israelites as a group was that they really heightened their awareness to levels that we as humans are not at that point right now. Sometimes we think, oh, because we're a modern society and we have our cell phones, we are very advanced. And that is not the case. These people elevated themselves so much that they survived on manna. And what is manna? Manna is the bread of angels, and I'm not the first one to say that. You can research it in Christianity, Judaism. Everybody talks about manna to be the food of the angels. It's a substance that was released through the brain to the body. It's a biochemical substance that sustained the body without the need to eat. So they touch such high spiritual levels that they could operate without needing to eat, and only when their body could create the ingredients that they needed through the air. So there's also the idea of Miriam's well. Miriam's well was a spiritual well that traveled with them wherever the Israelites went. And the idea is that spirituality and having spiritual food together is what eventually caused the people to unite until they were one and ready to accept the 10 Commandments and to enter Israel. So I just want to leave you with that idea of always having that spiritual aspect of the relationship, studying together, developing together, because that is how you heighten your awareness together. And you can find whichever program or group you want to do it, but I think it's an amazing idea. Okay guys, I hope you liked this video. You can check a few links that I have in the description box to my website and other social media. And if you like this video, please let me know in a comment. And it's not because I want more subscribers or something like that. I really want to know your opinion. And I wish you a lot of success in your partnership and all your relationships. And I hope these concepts were good for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.